I have my Amstrad CPC set up again, and it's too big to fit in frame. There we go. And I have a new game for it. It's called Rock and Roll. It's a game published by Rainbow Arts. There's the cassette. You can see from the cassette there that there's a lot of game there, and there really is a lot of game. It's one of those multi-loaders as well. This game was originally an Amiga game, I think, and it was converted to all of the usual computers of the time. And when I bought this, I thought I was buying the disc version, but I accidentally bought the tape version, and actually that's fine. It's not too much of a problem, it just takes a bit longer to load. I don't know why, but I don't seem to have that problem anymore where my Amstrad tape deck would chew up tapes sometimes. I just don't seem to have that problem anymore. I don't know why, but this is the only Amstrad game I know that loads up a little program and then makes you press play again, makes you press a key again to continue loading. So it's loaded up a little basic program, and then it starts loading up a binary program, I guess. And then it loads up a really nice title image. I think this picture shows off the Amstrad's extremely bright colours at their best. Now it's telling me to rewind side B. which is obviously where the levels are. But you can see there's a lot to rewind. So this is going to take a while. Once again, a computer game has got a text-only title screen. Well, it's got that great big border, so the actual game takes place in that little black window in the middle. Actually, I think other versions of this game, maybe even the Amstrad version of this game, does have a logo. I'm sure I've seen it with a logo. Maybe it's only the disc version of the game that has a logo. Oh, and just so you know, I had to plug in my 64K RAM expansion to be able to get music on this. And here we go, loading up level 1. It takes almost exactly a minute to load up the levels, which is not too bad really. Alright, so here we are, rock and roll. You can buy power-ups, so those blue tokens are coins. For some reason they're blue, I guess to make them stand out. And you can pick up keys as well. Of course the name rock and roll comes from the fact that you're rolling a ball around. You just use a controller on this game, but I think on the Amiga version you have to use the mouse. But the controls are nice. It does have a very low frame rate, which I think they probably could have improved. I'm sure there's plenty of games out there that have got better frame rates than this. It's got some rather nice music, nice bouncy chiptune music. And actually, have you noticed that the background doesn't move? I wonder if it actually is a parallax effect, or if it's just because of how it scrolls in like blocks rather than pixel by pixel, that the background just appears to not move, which may have still been intentional. And if that is true, that's quite clever actually. So I've just bought two, what are they called? Well, I've bought two power-ups that will fix the floor, which I'm going to use one of them here, actually. If I press the space bar, then I can change which power-up I have, and by holding the fire button down, I can fix a little bit of the floor. So there's quite a lot to this game really. There's a lot of different power-ups you can get, lots of different floor tiles. And it's not one of those games that's ridiculously difficult either. It's really easy to play. And of course this is just the first level, but I didn't really find much of a challenge at all actually. The only thing is these levels are extremely big. They take a really long time to play through. But part of that might be because of how slow it moves on the Amstrad. I'm going to guess that this is a Spectrum conversion that's just a bit slower on the Amstrad, like a lot of games are on the Amstrad, but at least they went to the effort of drawing new graphics, which are really quite nice, I think. Yeah, so bits like this are not overly difficult. As you might have guessed, all of those arrows just force you to move in that direction that they're pointing in. But you can actually kind of brute force your way past a few of them, so they're more of an annoyance than an obstacle. I think the music did get just a little bit irritating after hearing it over and over again, but I always appreciate games that do have music. The bar is set very low on the Amstrad for what is acceptable to be released, or what was acceptable to be released. Sometimes you'd have games that have monochrome graphics and no music. And so a game like this, it may not seem much compared to 16-bit console games, but comparing it to other Amstrad games, it's actually really quite nice. Actually, speaking of the music, I thought this game was very badly optimised. I saw a video of this on YouTube, and the music was constantly slowing down. And I thought, oh wow, that game's really badly optimised. It's got a terrible frame rate and the music keeps slowing down. Like maybe it was just badly programmed or something. But playing it on real hardware, the music doesn't slow down at all. And I've even seen some reviews of the game that say that the music slows down a lot. So I think those people reviewing it had only played it on emulation. And that is actually one reason why I prefer real hardware over emulation. Although to be fair, that's not a problem all that often. I mean, using real hardware has its problems nowadays, especially with 40-year-old hardware. Yeah, the Amstrad is actually 40 years old now. So I'm a bit further on in the game here, and I've got these floor tiles that will disappear, so I need to be careful here. You can get yourself into unwinnable positions. And I think when you die, you have the option to either just continue from where you are or to start at the start again. But these levels are so long, I'd never want to start again. If I died right near the end of a level, I probably would just turn the game off at that point. You do bounce off the walls actually if you hit them, so it can be a little bit tricky at times, but even though it has a very low frame rate, I did find the controls to be absolutely fine. And I know some people do have a bit of a thing where they can't really stomach anything that's below 60 frames per second in games like this. But for me, it's not really a problem. I'm still on the first level. I wonder how long this game would take to play through from start to finish. I've not said yet, have I? This game has 32 levels. So how long would that take you to play through it all the way? I mean, I'm quite close to the end of level 1 now. So it's probably going to take me about 15 minutes. Times that by 32. I don't think there's a password system, so you would have to play through this whole game in one sitting, which is a bit of a silly oversight. Hey, beat level 1. No, but I really like games that include a lot of content, because even though it's a cassette tape game, they didn't think to themselves, oh, well, it's only a cassette tape and it's only an Amstrad. A lot of users have only got 64k of RAM, so let's just make a game that's only got 2 or 3 levels and just have done with it. And just throw it out there into the market. They took the Amiga game and they did actually convert it over fully, as far as I know. And there's quite a lot of music as well. Maybe not as much as the Amiga has. So this is level 2, and I haven't really spent much time on level 2, but it does look to be more of the same. I think the tile sets change later on as you go. But if I was going to review this now, I would say that this is actually a really... It's a full fat game. It's got absolutely everything you want. The only thing is it does have a pretty low frame rate, which looks quite bad. If you're one of those people that always compares games to other systems, then this would probably be smoother on the Commodore 64. But I quite like it. I'd probably give this a 8 out of 10. And once again, thank you for watching.